let's put all different possible exercises that will help us to become very balanced, very technically correct, and very full of artistry and musicality dancer. So the first exercise.
You can do this exercise while you're sitting, right? Or you can have your knees slightly flexed, a little bit open, so this way will give you a lot of stability. What we're looking for, we want our legs and hips to stay very still. We don't want right now any movement in our hip area. We only want to isolate right now our rib cage. So the first movement, we're going to move just to the left and to the right. You can put your hands on your rib cage and help yourself with the movement, all right? So you can push from left to the right.
So right now what we're trying to do, we're trying to go only side to side, right? So we're pushing as much as we can, but we're trying to increase flexibility, almost feeling that you're reaching from side to side. And Sławek, what he's doing right now, he's showing you that the power comes from the side that is left behind. So we keep having that sensation of the push, not pull.
So
right now I do it wrong. I'm trying to achieve the same thing, but I'm pulling. So on the end, if you look at me, my lines are really broken right now, and I could not lift the foot and stay balanced.
So often you might hear from your teachers, reach further, try to grab something. But even though when you're trying to reach and grab, it still comes from the, let's call it standing side, and that side is continue pushing through the side, through the back. So that allows you to push, but you pull and reach, but you see that side is still very much supported. We don't want to feel like we're falling down. We actually really picked up. Okay?
So the first one, let's do one more time. We're pushing, 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 pushing. You can practice this more in a staccato way. So this doesn't have to be very continuous. We just want to really push and warm up our ribs. Then second motion is the front and back. So we will switch ourselves sideways to you guys so you can see it better. We will move our rib cage to the front. So now we should feel almost that our booties are sticking out and we have a curve on the low back. Obviously this is not the most proper position, but we visit this position as we go through different motions. Now we push back. So if you look at us, we don't look good either right now, but in the motion, we do go through that very concave spine. So we do one more time. We push front as much as you can, and we push back as much as you can. Now it's very important, we're not trying to wiggle our booty. The booty absorbs the weight and creates counterbalance, but the actual initiation of the movement happens from your rib cage, your sternum, and the back.
So we'll still use the pushing action to increase.
I can put my hands on Sławek. So now I'm going to push his sternum back, and now, whoops, sorry, pushed him too far. And now I'm going to push exactly the same opposite side, right between the shoulder blades. And again, I'm pushing his sternum. Hold on, honey. And now we're going to push it back, and we will do it again couple times. Imagine somebody pushes you and somebody pushes you through that place where we have the sternum.
So that help you to increase the range of motion and help you to become much more balanced and organized.
Again, the wrong version would be I'm reaching front,
Pulling.
I'm reaching back, I'm reaching front, I'm reaching back. So you can see that everything is moving almost like a doll, like a robot, versus creates that sensation of continuity, and here the same thing. And I feel like I can take so much more because I'm using the power that comes from behind the movement
and
to send it somewhere there. Okay, I hope that visual, guys, will help you to become even more flexible and aware how much more we can produce.
So
we went diagonals.
Right, let's do diagonals now.
So now we will go diagonally left front and diagonally right back. So we're going to use the diagonal part of the body to send ourselves on the diagonal field.
So remember, we always use the opposite side of the body to create the expected picture or the action. So now I push from my left front to feel like I'm stretching my right back. Now I push from my right back muscles to stretch and open up the left and front.
We go a couple more times. And now let's do the same thing in opposite directions. Now we'll go left diagonal back to have the right diagonal front, and right diagonal front to achieve the left diagonal back. And again, we push from behind, and we push from behind, and we push from behind, and the force comes from diagonal front. Now let's connect all those alignments into the little picture that will create actually circle motion later on. So let's do right now staccato. So we'll go front, center, diagonal, center, to the right for us, to the center, diagonally back, go back to the center, straight back, to the center, diagonally back, to the center, to the side, center, diagonally front, and center. Now when we will connect those pictures without going back to center, you should achieve a humongous circle through your ribcage. Yes, so I hope you already feel, wow, I can do so much more, not only because I'm aware where the end points are, but as well because we know that the energy always comes from behind the movement.
Now let's go the other way maybe. So we develop both awareness, both directions.
Okay. Good. Let's move on to the second exercise for our ribcage. So now, as we have our smiley face for the hips, obviously when we will swing in a box step or anything like this, if we will only swing for the hips, but we will not be able to reproduce the same action for the ribcage, we will look still funny and broken. So we need to learn how to create a scoop of the ribcage in the smiley face mode. So we're going to go down to go slightly up, down to go slightly. I hope you guys can see the difference. Slavik will do the correct one. I will do the previous one. I'm doing it flat, right? He produces immediately a swing action. So now I will join him. So now there is that pick up that creates lightness and immediately sensation of the rise and fall through the body.
And you can combine your hips and the ribcage in the future, they will go together. Or right now you can only work again through the ribcage area and just look for this happy face activity in your ribcage. I like to use my hand to help myself to sort of force what kind of activity I want from my body, in this case from my ribcage, to be produced.
Okay, and now you can do the same thing in a diagonal mode. So we can move it diagonally. I will join Slavik because he doesn't follow me that well. So we go from here and we will go diagonal. Now we go back side to side. And now we will go diagonal the other way. Thank you, honey, for following them.
Well.
Yes. So these motions will happen mainly in those fields. It's much harder to produce those actions in the front and back area, so we're going to skip that plane of movement. Now we have the next movement, it's the set face. We were learning how to do this for the up and over sensation. Now we need to do the same thing from our ribcage. So we will connect again from the standing side and feel like we're picking up the ribcage and placing it over the foot. Again, picking up from the standing side and placing it over the foot. Picking up and over. So I hope right now Slavik will do the pick up and over, and I will join him doing it under. So I hope you guys see how different our motions are looking right now. It's not the same. You might feel like we're doing the same thing, but we're not.
But
one of us is doing this, the other one is doing that.
But also, so we'll try to do that again. You could hopefully see that the beginning and end position was exactly the same. So we just chose different path how we get to the same position. Okay. So we'll start again being on the right foot. So I'll go up and over, Marjana gonna go down and under. Okay. So we go up, Marjana go down, and we join over the foot. Now I go up and over. Boom. So Marjana create happy face activity, and I create sad face activity, or let's call it a rainbow picture, right? To be more positive.
Yeah? Okay, so that's good. Now there is last one, which I believe for smooth dancers and ballroom dancer, in my opinion, it's crucial. It's the infinity mode through our ribcage. That mode teaches us how to really shape to leave the standing foot, not to enter. So I hope all of us, we know how the infinity picture looks like, or it's a flip figure 8 that is in a horizontal mode. Let's right now try to use that infinity picture through our ribcage.
So we'll start first on the horizontal level, right, as we went before. So we'll feel like we go horizontal from one side to another. We always enter through the center part, and then we'll try to create all this big circle on the other side.
So this is very well known in Latin American dances and in the rhythm. It creates a little bit more awareness that we actually could settle into the hip and produce that cucaracha action through the ribcage. So this one we use sometimes in smooth too, but there is another one that we use, and I believe the Latin dancers maybe use it on a very rare occasion. It's the up and over ribcage, because we do rise and fall. We do have swing and sway in most of our dances. Therefore, we need to use that action that will help us to create that sensation that we fit into character of each particular dance.
So now let's go the vertical way.
So we'll go up, so that starts like a sad face, and now it goes from down and under. So we do half of that up and over, and half of it down and under. So now as we do this, try to feel it's mainly through your ribcage. I like to put my hands in the L shape and put it like this. So now I can feel like I'm pushing from the thumbs to move it diagonally forward and diagonally forward. And that creates, again, that power that comes from behind the movement. Okay, now let's move this into diagonal front and back with right foot for us. We'll move it diagonal. So now if I move diagonally back, suddenly my index finger will be very useful to move me diagonally. So I'm using index finger now, thumb, now when I go forward. I'm pushing from the index finger, and now I'm pushing from my left thumb. Now if we switch direction, now the right thumb and my left index finger, and the right thumb and left index finger. So I hope you guys can see, as we were saying, the energy comes from behind. We're using with our hands the proper finger to help us to understand where that energy comes from.
So the reason why ribcage is also so important, because I like to think about the ribcage area as my body weight. So we like to always feel like that's where the movement through the foot pressure obviously is generated and created. So therefore the rest of the body follows that direction. So you see having all this awareness of all these different figure 8, let's call it activities, make the body so much more active and so much more rich with all the activities what we can create, versus just taking very simple and linear, just step whichever direction.